Hey everyone, welcome to my show, My So-Called Fabulous. I'm Tiffany Blackman. Welcome everyone. And guess what? It's our birthday. It is our birthday. It is 1 year that we've had My So-Called Fabulous, and happy birthday to us. I can't even tell you, even through COVID, my goodness, we have so much to talk about. And guess what? The question is, I get this all the time at the age of 55, 56 when this airs, and it's why in the world are you an influencer? So I'm going to talk about that today. So I've brought on my team, and I have three members here today. I have Audrey Dollins here, our photographer.
Hi.
Hey, Audrey. Audrey was here earlier in this, when we first started, you came on when you became our photographer. And Audrey also she is my brand manager. So she's twofold there and a great friend. And I also have Hillary Hamilton. She is my social media manager and a precious friend as well. And in the booth, Paul Rogers. Paul is in the back.
I feel like I need entrance music, man. That was great. Coming on down. Here he is.
And here he is. And Paul is in the booth. And Paul has done a podcast with me before. And actually, Paul is the reason why I am sitting here doing a podcast. And I want to start out with, since we are celebrating the podcast, why we did that in the first place. I wonder that often.
Oh, you already had all the elements to be able to create something visual and audible. And whenever I saw what you were doing with your website and your blog and all those things, I was like, well, you need to give it a human element. And I said that, pictures can only speak so much,
right?
And a blog can be written by anybody and put somebody else's face on it,
right?
So I thought that just to heighten your brand and make it more credible and make it more just influencing,
right.
That influential, whatever, to do something where they can actually hear the human side of you. Because I think that matters a lot.
That's true.
Because, when you think of small businesses, there's a reason why people choose small business is because the people. You walk in and that's probably the owner.
Right.
And that's so cool because you're able to feel them on a personal level. But who's the owner of Home Depot?
Right.
You don't walk into places
Sure.
like that and feel that personal connection. And I thought that with that personal connection would be perfect. You're already so personable and you have that charisma to run a room. So why not let people see it?
Right. Well, that makes sense. And so we started the podcast, but let's back up to March 18th of 2019. So I'm a chef by trade, written 3 cookbooks, and I would have people ask me constantly, oh my goodness, what's your Instagram? Let me see your recipes on Instagram. I'm like, well, I'm on Facebook. And my daughter, which at the time, my goodness, what age she was at the time, but she's like, Mom, you have to do Instagram. You've got to do it. So I said, you know what? As raising her, I wanted to be all in as a mom. I wanted to give her 24/7. And I did. And then I said, you know what? When I do this, I'm going to do it right. So it started out as a hobby, and I actually hired a friend of mine, Winston, and he got me started. And I have to say, I have never done a post. I don't know how to do a post on social media. Can you believe this? I'm really opening myself up here. I don't know how to post anything on Instagram. And so I had Winston helping me. Winston decided to leave the country, actually. And so we found Hillary. And author, chef, food, you think would be my niche. You would think that would be my entire audience. So we really thought that that's the way we were going. And I think actually Winston, he's fashion merchandising, fashion design. He's a master's, an MBA. He might have really kind of honed in on fashion. So being that, that has kind of dictated my feed. And I am going to bring Hillary in here to talk about this. But, how do you decide, Hillary, what to do with me? Now, you're the social media manager. You handle what?
So I met you through Winston, mutual friend, my sister.
Come closer.
Okay.
There we go.
Mutual friend, my sister, and it was a hobby for you. I remember meeting with you at the coffee shop, and you were like, a website? Do I need one? And I was like, yeah, I think so. You need a blog. You need these things. If you want to grow and expand your audience, all these things that you had mentioned. And people take to your fashion.
Right.
I mean, yes, you are a chef, you are all of these things, but people are really interested in your fashion. So we had to learn how to navigate it.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I think Winston actually started out with you, I feel like more interior design. It was more of your house, your kitchen, your beautiful home. And then we started and it was like, nope, people want to see what you're wearing. People want to know what shoes you have on. People want this. And then Audrey hooked you up with, got us into Like to Know, the reward style program.
Right.
And that's when it just really took off.
Right. Right. So when backing up, why would you need a website? Because I was against it. Remember, I'm like, no, we don't need a website. And you immediately changed my mind. Why do I need a website?
Well, I've just in the past had finicky luck with Instagram and Facebook that it could go away, at the snap of a button. And you want your content to be forever. You want to own your content. You want that to be yours. So,
and there goes the balloons.
We were afraid
we knew that would happen.
Oh no,
Hip, hip,
Carly.
hooray.
We knew. There goes the balloons. They're behind us. Stellar Creations, thank you, but we really weren't equipped to do that. Anyway, okay.
The screen was too hot.
I know. All right.
This tea is too hot, guys.
This is. So the website.
So I just feel like you need a place to have that you own, that you can say when it is there and is not there. Like Instagram could go away tomorrow. Facebook could go away tomorrow. Pinterest could go away tomorrow. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But your website is yours.
You own it.
You own it. That's your stuff.
And I 100% agree with her. When we speak with anyone, you want to own your content. You want to be in control of that. You cannot control the algorithm of other social media outlets. And the second thing that websites do is also create SEO. So every time you create a blog post, it's very important that you're generating continuously onto the website. I said the web like the old person, the www.
And what is SEO? Explain that.
And that's search engine optimization. So when someone types in, a certain recipe or your name or Fort Worth, then you're one of the first names that pop up. And so sometimes social media can help you do that. But when you're continuously, as much as you are, generating blogs on your website, it's optimizing when people are searching for a specific something.
Right.
So Hillary was 100% on that. You want to own your content, and the website is generating more than meets the eye. Although that there's a one post on Instagram, when you do the one post on the blog, it's creating little fillers out in the world that Instagram cannot always do for you.
Wow. I mean, that is to me, and this is why I don't do that. And everyone that has listened to this podcast, I always say, stay in your lane, hire people smarter than yourself. And that's what I've done. I have a team because I decided to take a hobby. I don't even know if it was a hobby, but to a serious business. And we are full-time 1000%. We went through the first year. Audrey, you've been with us a year now, right? It was January. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was.
It's January.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. And I found you because I was searching. I saw Tanya Smith and sorry, Tanya, I knew you when you were Smith, Foster and Tanya Foster in Dallas and Alicia Wood, and you were photographing these women. And I thought, first of all, I can't afford her. There's no way. I mean, that's the first thing I thought about. But then with photography, it's everything. It is absolutely everything. Why do you hire a good photographer?
Well, it is kind of like what Paul was touching on. It's creating imagery that best represents you and your voice. And so if you, depending on your style, you want to search out that photographer that best represents you without words. So you want to hire a photographer because the demand, there's several reasons. First is the demand of the imagery that you're going to need in this business. You really need to be posting once a day. And whether it's cell phone imagery or professional imagery, and I definitely recommend both for certain reasons, but content is fleeting. It goes so fast. And that's when you begin to delegate. Like your profession is, being a chef, and you're so fabulous at fashion. But Hillary is so great at social media. I'm educated on photography and those outlets. So when you delegate that, photography is a beast within itself. Social media is a beast within itself. And so you need to be able to delegate those tasks so you can do 100% at each and not feel overwhelmed and shortchange yourself in the end.
Right. Right. Oh my gosh. And it's true. Content we post. How often are we posting now?
Yeah. Once a week. We did the once a day.
Once a day.
We did the 2 times a day, and we're like, what?
It goes so fast.
Yeah. It's
all of your content. And what they're talking about is those of you that think I dress up every single day, the people that have texted me go, how do you look like this every day? We don't do this every day. We do it once a month at this point. Is that right? We do it once a month?
Yeah, once a month.
Yeah. And we blow through these photographs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't do this every day.
It goes quick.
It does.
And there's a need for high-end imagery, but there's also, and you do this great, like there's also a need to see you in your everyday and people like, oh, wow, I love your casual look. Or then they also like to see when it is high-end, and offering both, I think, is what keeps the engagement.
Right. Right. Okay. So Hillary, tell us this. And I do remember the interview with you and Winston. And I really my mind wasn't wrapped around this. Tell me about your education. You're from Fort Worth, but you went to college in California. So were they talking about social media when you were getting your advertising degree?
No. And it's so funny because I'm not old, but it makes me feel old when I talk about this, because I graduated in 2008, went to school from 2008 to 2012. And when I went to college, I majored in advertising. I thought my end goal was to work in an ad agency. I thought I was genuinely, I thought I was going to be doing print ads and billboards and commercials. That was my goal. And so my entire time there, not once, seriously, even my senior year, was social media ever brought up.
Wow.
Facebook, Instagram, nothing. In 2012, nothing. And so, so I graduated. I went to, I took an internship in LA. I ended up and got a job there. And I mean, I had an Instagram, I had a Pinterest, I had a Facebook. It was so different back then, though. It was like an Instagram was to put a filter on your photos to make it look like a Polaroid, and a Facebook was to share you partying last night at a party. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it was just so different. There were no algorithms, no ads, none of that. So then I moved to LA, and right away it's like social media takes off, and bloggers and influencers and all this stuff. And it was a whole new world. And I'm like, I went to school for this and I know nothing about it.
Nothing.
And so, yeah, I kind of feel like I'm self-taught in a way, just through my jobs and stuff. But yeah, it's crazy because that's now the curriculum is totally different. It's all about social media. No one's sadly, print ad is dead.
Right, it is.
I mean, it's a dying industry. People aren't doing magazines and billboards and stuff anymore. So
it's changed.
And it has me thinking all the time about that. And I think we've talked about this before. The access to technology is a lot different. We've talked about celebrities have been influencers for years. And the first thing that pops into my mind is like the Lincoln commercial with Matthew McConaughey. Like he's an influencer. He's not just a celebrity. He is trying to sell Lincolns.
Right.
I mean, you know what I mean? And then people engaged into that. So they keep hiring them back for a fee to help market their business. But now technology is available, just like us on this podcast. This wasn't accessible to as many people, even back then, which that's not long ago. You're still so young. But technology has become accessible for people to create their own websites, for people to teach themselves with YouTube, with Pinterest. We're all on a call and I talked about Pinterest. And I've spoke that to me, an influencer is someone that makes someone's day easier. It helps them and it inspires them to take action. And being able to access technology, we're able to do that a lot easier. And then social media comes into play where we can use the new technology to give that to a broader audience.
Wow.
Where back in the day, celebrities had the access to the cameras, and now cameras are amazing. I mean, the technology within that, with our phone, there are days I want to put my camera down and just use my cell phone because the lighting's hard and the cell phone can take a better, photo than the tens and thousands of dollars that I worked so hard to get for my,
Really?
photography gear. So the technology has come so far. I feel like it's made, being an influencer or being online much easier. Therefore, creating these platforms to be accessible and used more.
Right. This first year that the three of us have worked together, four of us actually, this first year, the changes, and I've said this, and I think after January, I'm not going to say this anymore, but we've learned so much, and I have made so many mistakes, and we all make mistakes, and we learn from the mistakes, and the mistakes are getting pricey. I mean, they just are, and it's communicating, and I think you were in your notes, you were sharing, we work as a team and we all learn from each other because Audrey, you've been shooting for a long time and you have been in advertising and you're learning too. What are some of the things that you look at, Hillary, and go, I just cannot believe I have to learn another TikTok, or because I'm not doing TikTok. I'm not, never say never, right?
Yeah, never say never. Well, it might get bought out this year. We'll see.
This is true. Well, this is true.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all very true. So yeah, TikTok, Reels, guides. I feel like every day there's something new that I'm like, what is this? What, we've got to learn this.
The
and
fluctuation of Facebook, it went down, and then some people are so successful on it right now, and then some aren't. It's ever changing.
It really is ever changing. So every day is a new thing.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? And we use my 21-year-old because that generation grew up with, I can't remember this Gen Z group. She's not a Gen Xer. No, she's a millennial. Millennial? No, she's a Gen Z. Yeah. Grew up with the capability of having a device in your hand, or was born and you could have a device in your hand. That is the craziest thing, but she gets it. She understands it. As a child, your children, Audrey, your kids, I'm sure you turn to them and we were doing a photo shoot the other day and Kennedy just said, oh, look at this. And Hillary's like, show me this app. It's a new app or something. Yeah. Disco or something. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Yeah, like stop motion apps and the Teza app and all the apps that keep coming out to help elevate your online presence. And my kids help me a lot. I try to read a lot about all the stuff that's coming up because that is my job.
Sure.
But I think the lingo, like the cool words and all of that stuff is what I really get their help on because I'm like, what's cool right now?
Right.
In the younger years. But you're right. They're doing their full schoolwork like all online. They go in person, but they're still logging in and completing the assignments online. And that blows my mind because I don't know how you do a math problem that way.
I don't either, without instruction at all. And I'm glad I don't have to do that. But my daughter has spent her half of her senior year and half of her junior year virtually from TCU. And it's just crazy. It is absolutely crazy. So anyway, so tell us how you got started, Audrey, in photography.
Yes, I started out as a family photographer. I just was really wanting to photograph anything to start a business. And I reached out to a photographer to photograph my family. I wanted a beautiful photo above my fireplace. She told me she was going to charge me I don't remember the hundreds of thousands of dollars it was for a 20-minute session. And I just was like, I'm going to take that money and buy my own camera and I'm going to take photos of my own children. And then I just got inspired to I have always loved capturing images, but I didn't really put it into motion. And then after a few years of growing families and capturing imagery, I had people ask me to photograph their weddings. And then I really dove deep into capturing weddings, very large weddings, and had a team and was doing that. And while I was doing that, I met a wonderful hair and makeup artist. She actually is an influencer, and her name, it's The Pretty Priority is her handle, and Haley. And she asked me to photograph. She wanted to do some makeup tutorials, and she had some products. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I actually did it for free. I was like, I have no clue on what I'm doing. And then someone reached out to me because they saw her photos and was like, can you do some influencer, photos for me? And I was like, I don't even know what to charge for that. Like, I don't even understand the area of this. And she told me how much she was paying her previous photographer. And I just laughed because I was like, that's nothing compared to weddings I'm photographing. But then I really started educating myself. And this was probably about 5 years ago, about 5 years ago. And I really started educating myself and realizing the market for branding and influencer imagery to help, educate people through imagery, products and how-tos, and Pinterest and YouTube, and why and what their reason was to create. Because Haley was a makeup artist for weddings, and the bride was like, how do I do that? Or contacting her saying, where did you get this lipstick? Where did you, and so Haley honed in on the fact that I can monetize this and I can make money off of, educating people of the products that I use to make them look so beautiful on these days. And when she did that also lessens the fact that she doesn't have to work on the weekends to do makeup for weddings. And that's what really made me dive in, is because I can take photos of influencers and brands Monday through Friday. I don't have to be at a wedding. I don't have to photograph families in the evening. So that looked perfect.
Wow.
I mean, that looked like the dream job to me, doing what I loved, and I could still be a mom and I could still be a wife. And so when I started working with Haley, it put me front and center, and I had no idea what reward style was. I didn't know what Like to Know It was. And the reward style conference came into town, and a photographer needed help. She wasn't able to make it to a shoot. And I just happened to land in front of some of the most top influencers in the business. And ignorance was bliss, because I had no idea I was standing in front of Ashley Nichols, Jennifer Reed. Jennifer just hit 1 million followers on Instagram. I'm not trying to name drop by any means to be like bragging. Jennifer does her own work. She has her own team and does all that. This was years ago, but I didn't realize the magnitude, and I don't think they realized it either. Mm-mm. They were very well known. But then, I was meeting other very well-known people, and it was just because I was ignorant and I was just trying to do a good job and wanted to take great photos. And then slowly I saw there is a business here, and I transitioned into influencing. I understood it, the perception of it. And I don't want to throw my husband under the bus, but he was like, you're just girls running around town taking photos.
Right.
This is a $1 billion business. I was running statistics before we started this. There's 9.9 million users in 2019 alone that use the Like to Know It app. In 2019, there was $1 billion worth of sales off of the Like to Know It app. So we will be those girls running around town, babe.
Oh, sure.
Taking those photos. So, and bless his heart, he loves it. He is all in, and he supports 100%. But back in the day, he didn't know what it was. And it was hard for me to even explain it yet. Like, they're getting paid to wear this outfit. And like, yes, this is not just them, running around and lunching. This is hard work.
Oh, heavens.
This is, you said we work full-time jobs. I feel like we work overtime jobs.
We do.
There is not a week that we're not putting in the hours. And with this education, I've just felt like photography was the gateway to this wonderful business that we're in. And so that's why I decided to transition, because I'm so passionate about the business and the statistics and the numbers, and getting brands and influencers together and getting them out there is why I started, helping and wanting to be your brand manager and loving the work, talking to brands and introducing brands to you, and how you love their brand, and how your audience, wants their brand or their product, and how you introduce it to them. So that part, and then just the people, has just grown since before Instagram was cool.
Right. So Hillary, tell me how you plan your day. Like, how does it How does it work? Like, explain to everyone that we honestly, it just doesn't pop up. There's thought through everything, and we have discussed at a meeting because we've had to be last minute, and it's too stressful. It's just too much. And I talked about this with the girls this past week, how to let go. I have to let go and let people. Let her make a caption. I mean, for the love. I mean, she can make a caption. She's social media manager. So tell us how a day looks. Like, what has to be done or a week, in fact.
Yeah. So ideally, everything would be planned out perfectly. Photos, captions, the whole 9 yards. It doesn't always go that way because sometimes you run out of content. You went to a Christmas party,
Right.
last night. I want to post that right now. Okay. How does that fit into the feed? What does it look like? And then just captions in general. And then blog posts are a totally different ballgame because those have to be planned out pretty far in advance. We try.
Right. We do try.
We're getting better.
We do be trying.
We do be trying. So, yeah, I mean, that's our goal for 2021 because we do work a little
last minute.
A little last minute, yeah.
Right. And we're getting better.
Yeah.
I think. Like, she did this content calendar, a content calendar, and it's got the months.
Yeah.
And it's got every day of the week, what's posting on Instagram and what the blog post is. We blog every day now, which, remember me, the one that didn't want a website. So we blog every day. So that's photography from either me, you, Hillary, or Audrey. Yeah. And it's a lot. It's a lot talking. It's just a lot. And we are depending on you, our listeners. Are we exciting you? Are you wanting to wear this pink sweater I have on today? Are you wanting to cook the chili that I'm making today? And that's the struggle, and watching these other influencers and what they're doing. And I do get caught up in, she's doing this. They've got these followers. And now remember, we have been on Instagram not 2 years, and we are at 10,000 followers. So what is the magic number about 10,000 followers? Because I hold my breath. Please don't unfollow me, people. Please, good grief.
We like the swipe up.
Yes.
The swipe up function and stories. But yeah, so when Audrey came on, she was really the one that was like, listen, guys, you gotta, again, I was doing social media, but you really were the one that was like, you've got to hone this in. Like, do a post every single day, get a calendar, get organized, because otherwise you'll lose your mind. It's crazy. I mean, sometimes we even still do.
We do.
Well,
Tiffy wakes up at 5 a.m. and I'm like, I'll wake up at 6:30 and I've got 4 messages from her and I'm like,
consistency is the key, and it's so hard. And that's what you're saying. It's like with the content calendar and then trying to schedule certain things. And this is, I just hear my grandpa's voice. I'm so Southern. He knew that the weather was going to come on at this certain time. Like, the news comes on at 10, the weather comes on at 10:10. And my grandfather knew that when the weather came on at 10:10, because he's a farmer, he owned a lot of land, and he saw the weather, he could lay down and go to sleep. And people do that. They look for you. They know that. And that's what influencers, why I was saying they're helpful, is if you have already, scoured and searched the Nordstrom sale and you found the best finds, and I'm a busy mom that's doing this and doing this, and I connect with you and I know that Tiffany has my style down, I know that she's gonna help me and already do all the legwork for me. And so with you being consistent every day at this time, or every Thursday she does this certain thing,
right,
or her recipe, I know that you're going to be there for me and help me. And so kind of like that with the ode to my grandfather, that that's going to happen. And so when you do that consistency and people expect it, we put the pressure on ourselves of like, oh my gosh, we have to get the recipe out on Wednesday. This is the day that we do recipes. And when we don't do that, there is nobody standing at the door going, the recipe, it's not here,
right,
but we do it to ourselves because we know that is where our engagement comes from, and that people are looking for that. but it's okay that we don't. It's just, I would definitely recommend to be consistent for the best results.
Right. And timing. And why is timing important?
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out our timing. We're
Yeah,
like, it's
and
2 o'clock. Is
talking
it
talking
6
about the
a.m.?
time of day that we post on Instagram.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we look into insights and we see when the most traffic is, when the most people click on your stuff. And it's funny because it fluctuates.
It does.
So some weeks it is, we think we're good at 2, and then it's like, meh. But the algorithm. So the algorithm is something you always have to keep track of. It is ever changing. Sorry. Ever changing. And it's just, that's the way of the game.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, and think about too, and I look at it the highs and lows of entrepreneurship. So in June, when it's not in the regular years, when it's not COVID,
Mhm.
a lot of people are on vacation.
mhm.
In December, a lot of people are out of town. This year, it does look different. So your first year, look what you've had to, take on.
Yes.
So the statistics really are not comparable because we've never had to compare it to times like these before.
Right.
So any success and any increase is a wonderful thing, especially during this time. But in years past, because now my sales and things are different because we were shut down for so long. But the year before, I knew that I didn't expect to have a busy year in December because everybody was on holidays for weeks. June, people were going out of town. So whether you're an influencer or a family or a wedding, your weddings increase in the summer
Mhm.
because everybody plans it then. Your influencers are going to those weddings. So there was differentiations there. So now it is different, but I always kind of play it on, and Fort Worth is different than Dallas, and California is different than Texas, our time zones, etc. So nothing is a one size fits all. But I always think about when I'm able to look at social media, and then you think about the mom, or you think about someone your age.
Mhm.
Is someone your young age, by the way?
Yeah.
I said that.
Okay.
Oh, I'm rude.
No, you're not.
But are you up at 5 a.m.? I know that I'm up at 5:45 as a mom because I'm preparing certain things, or I work, and so I'm trying to get all this stuff done before I have to go out. And so I'm looking at this at 6 a.m. So if somebody posts something at 6 a.m. while I'm drinking my coffee and watching the news, I'll probably read it then. But from 9 to 5, I am a busy bee, and I may look at it at lunchtime when I'm quickly, eating. So that's how I approach it. But sometimes it's different. Because it is June, people are on vacation. It is Christmas, they're out of town. Maybe they're not on their phones as much. So it's ever changing, and you just pivot and flow for sure.
So I want to ask you girls, because I still am not sure about this, so you're going to educate me. What the heck is the algorithm? Hillary, can you zero in? I can't stand that word.
I know.
Because people, some days I'll get 150 likes or however many likes, 200. And then some days on a fabulous something, I'll get 10.
Mhm.
What's going on?
It's crazy. So essentially, they being Instagram and Facebook.
They.
Wouldn't we like to take them
Mark
to dinner?
Zuckerberg.
They. Hey, Instagram, got little bubbles. I got a little Veuve Clicquot over here.
Yeah. So essentially, they take what they think they are watching you. They look at your Google searches. They look at what you're talking about. I'm sorry if that scares you, but they do. Like, there are so many components in your phone that are keeping your data. Okay, so then I go into my feed and I'm scrolling. Well, sometimes I might not see you, even though I'm close with you, even though I like every single one of your posts. You might not be at the top because, a sweater that I look down at Nordstrom
Yes.
is going to be at the top. And it's a whole game that you have to play that essentially is what they think you want to see. Which sucks because it used to be the way. I remember that it was completely chronological. It was, if you posted, 20 minutes ago, you posted 19 minutes ago, someone else posted 18 minutes ago. It was completely chronological. Now it's like you could lose all of that. There are people I don't see their stuff ever unless I go specifically to their page to look at their content. So it's crazy. And They do that as a way, though. It's a form of advertising.
I'm going to recommend everyone that follows Tiffany
Yeah.
to save an image.
Yes.
So do the save.
And how do you do that?
So there's that little ribbon on the right side of the bottom of the photo. And when they save it, and the more that they save an image, which is kind of like, it's almost like pinning something.
Yeah.
And it saves within your Instagram. And if they can go down and start saving all of those,
That's like the highest.
that's the
form of
highest
flattery.
form
Yes.
Yeah.
of flattery, and that will pop up.
I didn't know that.
Mhm. More so than a like or a follow or a comment. Yeah.
Wow, the
save.
save.
A
Save.
save.
Well, I know at one point, one of you or Kennedy, someone goes, "Oh my gosh, that was saved 4 times."
Yeah, that's
and
wonderful.
I'm like, "Yay, good me!" But I mean, okay, did you hear that? Save on the Instagram.
Save everything.
Save everything. Go save my stuff.
Oh my gosh, like I want to write down marketing giveaway. Save.
Save.
Whoever
Okay.
saves this month.
Absolutely. So the algorithms, and I have seen other influencers say something about it as well. And I'm like, I don't understand it at all. And you just have to be careful with it. I do know, and I can say this, we went to jail and
Instagram jail.
Instagram jail because they didn't like something, and it was, we didn't even get a court of law, but the more people that I come in contact with that are honest with me, and they're like, yeah, I was there
Been
too.
there.
I've been there, done that. So yeah, and it's scary, and that takes me back to the website, of course. And when we're releasing this podcast, we will have a new website. Audrey, remind me why we didn't have to do anything, but we made the business decision to do a new website, and Hillary's been working on that like crazy. So what was the reasoning? If you've been to my website, TiffanyCBlackman.com, please take a look, but it's going to change. It's changed now. So why?
So as an influencer, with anything that we do, and like you said, it went from a hobby that this is an overtime job, right? And it's a lot of work. And just like you said, you're paying Hillary, you're paying me, you're paying Paul, and everyone that we work with. As much as I would love to take your gorgeous photos for free, it costs me.
Sure.
You're an outstanding person, but that's what makes the world go round, right?
Exactly.
And so what happens is people, the perception is Instagram famous and all of these things. But the fact is, it costs you money to do all the things that you're doing.
It's not free, people.
This is not free.
No.
The investment that you make is a large one. And so we needed to monetize your website and increase the way that we monetize it. And what that means is when you invest in an outfit or work with a brand to educate your audience, we're able to monetize that if they purchase that outfit, just like if they went into a store to shop with you and you were, working in that department, those people get paid for showing you and helping you find the right size. Well, you should too with all of your investment. So the website is going to be monetized where that it's easier for them to shop you. It's easier for them to find the certain things that they're looking for, whether it's a recipe or fashion. And so the capabilities of your new website are a little bit more higher and accessible than it was on your older one. And so Hillary's done a great job. It's absolutely beautiful, and it'll be an easier shopping experience for your audience. And so it was important because with your investment and how hard you work to give that to your audience, I wanted to make sure that you were getting the most return on your investment.
Right. And you've been working on that. So
Me with the help of a lot of other
another
people.
team.
But
Yeah, there's a team that out of Washington, Colorado, somewhere. Somewhere. I don't even know where they are. But it's all virtual. So, I mean, what has gone into that?
So it's crazy. Yeah, because I didn't ever really think about that when we built your website. But yeah, they come to your site to shop you, essentially. I mean, not always clothes. It could be a recipe. It could be whatever. But yeah, they want it to be accessible. Click it. Boom. Done. Take me there. I want to buy that sweater that you're wearing. I want, this recipe. And our old site was more, it's funny because everybody's attention span is shrinking.
Tiny, of an ant.
So it used to be like, okay, I can click this and then go to this and boom, 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 I'm going to get there. But now people want a one and done type of thing.
Right.
So essentially that's what this does. And it makes it all very accessible to all of your
Right.
readers, followers.
When I started this, I didn't think, I mean, I knew this was a hobby in the beginning, and I didn't understand how to monetize it and to make money. And did you all know that, I mean, my listeners, that that's how you do it? I mean, if you go and look at my story, and we'll talk about stories, but if you go and you see this pink sweater, if you're on YouTube now, if you see the pink sweater and you go to, and then you click on it, it takes you to Reward Style, and I get a commission is basically how it works. And so I can pay for these people, but we're just getting started, and it's very exciting to see the monetization, but we're just getting started, right? I mean, I look at these girls and I tell them all the time, tell me if I need to pull the plug. Tell me, because I get very discouraged from time to time with this business, because it is financially draining, but I love it so much. And people, I have a group of friends that are getting it now. And they did ask me before, and I was so discouraged. And I told you about this, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, I felt like they were saying, oh, you're just flaunting what you have. Are you kidding me? People, I don't own half the crap I wear. Okay. I really don't. I return it back to them. Okay. But I mean, that is, I don't know if people really understand it, because I didn't understand it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, so yes, how it's changed.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think you give yourself enough credit, and I don't think none of us give our own selves, enough
Right.
credit. And any business, no matter what it is, I think there's always a time of question. But the more that you keep persisting, and it's those thank you so much that you receive in your
Mhm.
Instagram, and
Yes.
we're coming on to the new year. You're very educated in health and fitness and how to make a wonderful recipe that's healthier for you, and you are helping those that maybe can't afford to go out and get a professional chef. And here you are on Instagram, and you are, helping
Mhm.
those. So yes, I think that you may return the you say you return the clothes, but I wouldn't know. I mean, I look to you to go, okay, what is holiday chic? So I'm going to go to Pinterest and look at holiday chic. Well, that is and that's how I explain to people that are unaware of what influencing is did you go to Pinterest to get this green bean casserole that you brought,
Mhm.
or your special recipe that you brought? Well, that a blogger provided that for you. That's not somebody at Pinterest with an amazing kitchen that can decorate their mantle. This is Sally in Ohio that knows how to do this and is putting on her blog, and she pinned it to Pinterest. And when you looked up green bean casserole or holiday chic, it popped up, and they're there helping you without you realizing it. And so for people or friends that don't understand, that's what it is. Pinterest has been around for a very long time, and then Instagram kind of, plunged it into the spotlight. So yes, I mean, you're fabulous. Don't be discouraged, and that's what I always tell everyone and anyone that's listening. Whether it's being an influencer, just keep pushing through and keep telling your story and your why, and it will all unfold.
Right. Can you believe how we are where we are? I mean, can you, I mean, Hillary, I'm looking at you, because we did, as a filming right now, but we did a cooking class. Now, I would load up my pans and my pots and all of my ingredients once upon a time and go to a TV station or go to someone's home or an event center and do a cooking class. So NCL, Capital Texas, which NCL's National Charity League, asked me to do back this summer, asked me to do a cooking class on Zoom. And I was like, no. But that organization's very near to myself, my heart, and my daughter. So I said yes. And they said, oh, it'd be about 200 attendees. And still I'm going, I just didn't get it. All right. So last night we did this cooking class on Zoom. It was unbelievable. I mean, it was out of control. And I got so many new followers from these people, and they're real followers. They're people that are really going to, it was unbelievable. And if you ask me, the woman that went to a TV station at 3:30 in the morning to do a morning show or whatever, that I would be in my kitchen on my computer seeing all these faces go across my screen and ask questions popping up. I didn't know that was a thing. And I still shake my head. I was so proud. I actually had a little meltdown afterward. I will have a crying fit because I was so proud of the way technology has changed us, and that's COVID. And Paul and I have talked about it many times. The silver lining of COVID, it's changed. I mean, Audrey, what are the figures and facts on fashion? I mean, people are online shopping, and I wouldn't have been one of those.
No, for sure. And with what's, of course, we're talking about shipping. I mean, the holidays were always a rush. And so now the deliveries, just even on a regular month before the holidays, were holiday numbers. So you're talking about everyone that, even if it's grocery pickup and all of those things, you're using technology to shop those items. And so you are the person that's doing the legwork for what they need to get their kids or their teenage daughter or your spouse. Influencers are showing you what their husband or spouse likes during COVID, or how to be active, during the holidays. I've read several things that are so insightful from influencers that are, guiding what people do this holiday season. And the numbers are through the roof. They're nothing anyone has ever seen. There's nothing to compare it to because this is groundbreaking.
Right.
They also transitioned to marketing where Black Fridays were the whole month, just to make sure that they could meet the needs of the demands of the mail service, the delivery services, because everyone's shopping online. And I feel like a lot of influencers have been produced from COVID, where people had the time to really educate themselves. And so, okay, this is what an influencer is. And so definitely COVID has increased the online market for sure.
100%. And we've gotten more followers during COVID.
We have.
But I think it's important to say that exactly what you're saying, like there are influencers. People probably feel like there are a lot of them, but you hone in on what your brand identity is and your niche of being an influencer. And that's important in this a so-called saturated market.
Right. And how would you define us, Hillary?
Define us? What do you mean by that?
Like, how would you define my niche? Like, I'm 55, 56 now. Now I'm really not going to be able to remember my age at all. But who is watching me? And it's interesting because our audience
it changes. So there's so many times it's fashion, but then like on Pinterest, people love your recipes, and that you just kind of have to adapt to whatever people are looking for. Like not necessarily on Pinterest are people looking for your outfit. They're looking for instance, me. That's me. Every night I go there and I'm like, okay, I've got lettuce, tomatoes, and lemons in my fridge. That's all I've got. What can I make? And like those kind of things come up.
Really?
So yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm always looking for recipes on there, but clothes, not so much. I mean, of course, anyway. Right. So that goes back and forth. But to bounce off what you said, I feel like this year of all years, you really adapted to this whole COVID market because thank God for reward style, because it helps you shop these things that you can't go to stores right now. I mean, now maybe more so than back in March and April, but back then you couldn't. And so it worked in your favor in a lot of ways. And I'm sure a lot of other blogger and influencers ways, but yeah. I'm proud of you because this was a crazy year.
This was a crazy year.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it. A friend of mine said, Tiffy, you didn't stop. You did not stop. Everyone was at home in their pajamas, no makeup. We didn't stop. And I promised everyone that we were not going to stop. Audrey had to, because you were limited. You live in Dallas area. You couldn't travel outside of Dallas. So we had to do our own photography.
Yeah.
I mean, we
and
did.
before mass, you're like, sorry, we can't shoot. We
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah. So, I mean, we were limited there, but we didn't stop. And Paul and I talked about it. We were going to do a podcast every Tuesday. I'm like, I don't know how, but we're going to do it. And the 3 weeks I did take off is when I freaking had COVID. So, I mean, that's the only time that I did say, well, I guess I better stay home
Guess
for
I won't
3
go.
weeks. But I was determined to do it. And I hope it continues to pay off. So tell me who is watching me. Like, you pull the demographics on who the age group.
Mhm.
It's women, obviously.
Women, it's predominantly younger women too. I
Is
think that
that
helps. I think
crazy?
Kennedy helps that.
Yeah, Kennedy does help us boost
Yeah,
that, but
She does. But yeah, it's the younger crowd. And that's why I know that it's fashion related
Right,
for sure.
right. Now,
Yeah.
and when I'm doing the menopause one here, a podcast here in a minute, I'm like,
Uh-oh.
girls, you better listen.
Don't unfollow us.
Yeah, please don't unfollow us. But yeah, of course. Or yeah, when we do the sexual health one here coming up soon as well too. So of course, but tell us how you are an influencer as well, Audrey. You are an influencer. And you really are. And tell us how you make the switch. So you're a photographer, and that's in your blood. That's passion. It takes a lot of work. And I'm telling you, just like I said, I don't want to go to TV. I will go to it. I'll do anything. But the days of doing that day after day after day. So you turn the switch, you flip the switch, and you said, you know what? You are educated in the influencing world. You are my brand manager. What made you start that arm of your company?
So, like you said, Dallas was shut down. I was stuck at home.
Was that it? That was it?
That was during the time I felt inside. I absolutely love every single one of my clients. I've owned business back. You were saying, I think it was around 20. My daughter was born in 2009. I owned a boutique 2010, 2011, and I only did it online on Facebook. And I had a little shop, and I was selling it on Facebook. I always had the drive to own a business, and I always loved marketing, and I always was just naturally good at it. I can speak in front of a room about marketing or sell anything. You ask me to speak about my family, I'll just blush down and cry. I love marketing. I love hearing people's why, their reason. I just always have had a great work ethic. But during COVID, I was realizing, and as any entrepreneur, you try to figure out how you can make money any way possible. And I'm sitting here on my patio, and I can't take photos. And I'm 37 now.
Uh-oh.
And I was already feeling the wears and tears of my body of photographing every day. And
On
it's
your knees.
On my knees. It's
Ugh.
interactive. I will wake up and I will photograph from sunup to sundown, have to edit. Our team is growing. I have wonderful people that are helping. But as an entrepreneur, you think of the other outlets that you can produce an income. And I just felt like, and I know that I have more skills that I wanted to offer people. And I know how to do this. I know how to, launch brands in the steps. Now, I cannot do everything.
Right.
So I think being, delegating those tasks is very important, but I do know how to delegate. I do know how to spot a great photographer, a great launch, marketing. I'm educated in all of that. And I was like, I'm just ready to do something more than just take photos. And it's not just a photo. I know the reason for it. And so I wanted to take it next level and bring brands and influencers. And I have an opportunity to work with a wonderful skincare line that's going to be launching this year. And I can't wait to tell everybody about that. And just the passion of the people that want to create something, but they don't know how to get it to the public. And that's important to me. And not that I don't want to take people's photos. I just felt like I had more to offer. So in the time of COVID and sitting on my patio, I was like, I'm doing this.
Oh,
So
wow.
I began to pivot. And that's the word of 2020 is to pivot and do your best. And I have all this knowledge that I laugh about all the time, that I talk too much, but I feel like it's just imploding inside, that I have so much I want to say and so much I want to do that, whether it's blessing someone with that knowledge to help catapult their product, that was that was it for me. And so I even called you during COVID, and I said, I just want to do something more. And what are your thoughts on, this? And I want to give my energy on marketing and bringing influencers and brands together authentically.
Right.
You don't work with anyone that you don't feel passionate about. I think that I want to clarify that so much is we do tell people no. You're not out there just hopping because someone's like, oh, say this on your Instagram so we can make all these sales. You're very passionate. If you're going to invest your time, you're working with companies that represent you or you represent them well. And so I kind of help you do that. Like, is this a great fit? Do you feel like you can do this great, with a brand? Or do we feel like that would help your audience? If it doesn't, then, I don't want to, you don't want to type that email. That's all about delegating. And so I do that for you. I want to, represent you great. And so that's what I spent my time during COVID. And I feel like it's going to be a pretty big thing.
I do. And you have your workshop on January 29th.
Yes.
And your influencer workshop and photography workshop. Correct?
Yes. So it's a branding and photography workshop, and it helps educate small businesses on exactly what you do and how it can help their business. And I feel like photography and social media is such an important part of that. And so a lot of small businesses don't know they just can't let go.
Right.
And so we want to educate them on why they should and how in the back end it will help them. So just like the website, social media, it's their digital business card. They have to have that going because we were talking about our children about that. This is all that they're graduating in colleges from being online.
I know.
And you're not putting your business online.
Right.
You have to. And so this is what the workshop is. And it's going to bring some influencers that have been in the business for over 6 years. And then we're bringing in a couple, Taryn and Rick Newton. They're influencers, and Taryn is the influencer, and then she has her husband. And I'm so excited about Rick because he's going to give the male perspective.
Oh, gosh.
And I'm loving it. He's so awesome, and he supports her, and they have beautiful children, and they're just so wonderful to work with. But it's really putting a backstory, and it's a workshop that is very hands-on. And I'm so glad you guys are going to be there because it's so hands-on, and you're not just listening to a computer. We are going to social distance and wear our masks. But you're able to really get hands-on and, photograph products, photograph yourself, understand why you're actually doing it, and that you really are an asset to the marketing world and to products that do help people.
Right. You say that in the time involved and you thinking about it. And Audrey, you have 2 children and a husband, and Hillary, you are single, but I get caught too, because people are like, well, you're not working anymore. So, I know Hillary has definitely gone through this with people and that think that you don't work, and you have multiple clients as well. I hope we get to the point where that's not a thing, but multiple clients. So tell us your experience with people think, and I do know it would be someone my age, of course, because people think you don't work. Are you kidding me? I am texting your brains out at 4 a.m. So and 10 and right now at this stage of the game with me, I can't not work every day. I can't. I don't have that luxury, and I have an incredibly supportive husband. But tell us what you're dealing with. I mean, it's true. It's
very true. So my parents, first off, my dad's actually surprisingly a little more understanding than my mom, but my mom is like, she'll call on me at any time of day, like, can you do this? No, she doesn't even ask. She tells, you need to do this. You've got to pick up XYZ at the airport, or you've got to, take grandma to her doctor appointment, or you got to do this, or take the cat, or
take the dead cat and have it.
Yeah, so that was the
I
most
was there for that one.
Yeah.
I forgot that
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so we had a photo shoot 6 months ago. I don't know what it was, 4 months ago. And that was one of the mornings. So my grandma called me at 7 a.m. I had the photo shoot at 9 with you guys. And she's like distraught, bawling.
Yeah.
Her cat died. And I was like, sad for her. And I was like, okay, what do we do about this? Like, I'm going to help you.
One of many cats, though,
But
in
one of
her
them-
lifetime.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. This was like cat number 6. So I'm like, okay, like I want to help you out. I have a photo shoot in a couple hours. What can I do for you after that? And she's like, just through sobbing tears, like, no, this cat is dead. Like Hillary had died overnight. I got to put it on ice. And I was like, what do you mean you got to put it on ice? And she was like, I'm cleaning up my freezer and putting it on ice. So I was like, Grandma, I'm going to have to call you back. So I call my mom. I'm like, Mom, Grandma's losing it.
Yeah.
Something's going on, and she's putting the cat in the freezer. Anyway, long story short, I go to this photo shoot. I'm telling Tiffy, she's bawling, like laughing. She
I
thought it was
took a
hilarious.
photo
Yeah,
of
you
it.
were
I
there
took
too.
a photo
Yeah,
of
it.
we
Yeah.
couldn't control ourselves because it's honestly hysterical. But they couldn't even understand. Like, you can't pull yourself for 20. No, not even 20. It was Alvarado. It was
Yeah.
so far. The
Right.
vet was in Alvarado, so it was going to be an hour mission there, hour mission back, and they couldn't understand why I couldn't do that. And I'm like, guys, I have a photo shoot, I have a commitment, and they're like, you do social media though, you make your own schedule. So that is one of the many.
Oh my goodness, you make your own schedule.
Many examples. It happens all the time, though. I mean, my mom, will you rake the leaves today? I'm like, no.
Oh, I know.
Work to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's funny, but working at home has so many advantages, especially this year. I mean, couldn't be more blessed. But yeah, there are some funny times that I'm just like, guys, I have a job actually.
Yeah, a real job.
Even though I work in my apartment, I do have jobs.
It's amazing. Yeah, because schedules are, I mean, just between the three of us scheduling, you have multiple clients.
Yeah.
I mean, I just sit there and go, please take me on a certain day or whatever. But, it's tough. It's tough. And Audrey, you are good and having a family because you are established and and I think I see you changing as well, your mindset because you're in America. I mean, how long have you and Jason been married?
Not very long. 4 years?
Yeah.
4
so
years.
see?
Yeah. 4 years
Yeah.
in September,
So
together
you're-
for 6.
Yeah.
But it's still really hard. I've been in business for 10 years and the schedule, is still very hard. I'm at the point now where I do need to get a different cell phone. I need to separate a lot. It's not the client's fault. It's just we're growing and it's growing pains and it's a positive thing, but sometimes it's a very difficult thing to set those boundaries because it is not in my nature to say no. It is not in my nature to be like, I'm going to use the word, I hustle and I want to grow and I get excited and I want to book this person, book that person. But there are moments that I'm working at 3 a.m. and I know I have to wake up and then I'm not there for my family mentally or physically because I'm just exhausted. It's still hard. I am still trying to figure it out. There are tears still shed about the schedule. I mean, you can call Samantha. I called her yesterday just in tears. Not being able to get a day off with my family has just for even something recent, I couldn't even do it. And so it's not that we can't do it. It's we're not, allowing ourselves and to create our own schedule. We can, but it's like you're saying, it's so hard because we can possibly, quit that commitment or reschedule that commitment. But it's not a consistency we want for our jobs and our future. So we really can't do that. Especially when we're schooling our kids at home and my daughter's head is popping out like every second on the other side of my computer. And I have, a commitment to brands and the influencer to make sure that these images are great or, I got to email so-and-so. So yeah, it is a very difficult revolving thing that saying no, it's not in my nature.
No.
I'm learning to speak up. I don't know how to speak up sometimes. But I feel when I don't, it's when I hurt the most.
Right.
And I hurt the people that
Sure.
mean the most.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to ask Paul one question before we go away. And I'm going to ask Paul, how in the world these people, I asked everyone at the end of the podcast, and we're about to come to a close, but the podcast world, we always ask them to rate and review the podcast. And can you explain to the listeners and followers why we are asking them to do that?
So in the podcast realm, it's not really a there's not really a monetary value that you can make just for streaming the podcast itself. It comes from sponsorships, and it comes from, things outside of the podcast itself. So whenever we ask people to go rate and review, it brings up kind of back to the SEO side of things, and like anything with YouTube and Instagram, the hashtags, it's the same kind of thing, because the more activity a show has or a podcast has, the more it gets bumped up into the charts. And then because with the podcast, the whole point, and this is for every podcast out there, the whole point is to be found accidentally. And you can be found on purpose by 20 people and that's it. But being found accidentally, that's how things spread. That's how things are shared. That's how things become viral. You see every day on Facebook something with 12 million views because everyone keeps sharing it.
Right.
So that's the point of those reviews, because it puts action onto an otherwise just an inanimate object, so to speak. And that's what puts it up into the ranks of the podcast world, and it just gets you seen.
Right.
It's the least amount of support that that's kind of the least, but also the biggest.
Right.
That we just kind of, we beg for from the followers and the fans out there, is to just go in there, rate it, write a little review if you want to. It can just say fabulous for all we care. But go in there. It literally takes 2 seconds. So all you have to do is go to your podcast app and hit 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, and that's it.
Well, that's something I ask every single time after I wrap this up. But I can't tell you too how much the three of you for coming and being in my life and putting up with me and loving me and just this career that I've started. And you all are the support, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate. And we wanted to tell everybody what we're trying to do. So
and this is only the beginning.
This is only
it's about to, 2021 is about to be insane.
Yes, it is. That's right. That's
cheers
it.
to big things.
That's right. Well, cheers to you. Cheers, Paul, as well.
Cling, 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 cling.
Paul didn't want a day drink with us, but everyone, okay.
Makes me sleepy.
You're a joy. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much as well. Okay, we can find you on Instagram, Audrey.
At Audrey Dollins.
Yes.
AUD. Oh, my name is so bad. Audrey Dollins. At Audrey Dollins. Because I'm different. AUDRIE.
RIE.
Dollins.
Yes.
DOLLINS. And AD Media Group.
That's right. And Hillary?
HD Hamilton. That's all I've got.
That's it.
Instagram.
That's it. And I'm Tiffany C. Blackman. That is my Instagram handle. And please, again, just like Paul said it, go rate and review. And we've got big things for you coming up, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for supporting. Happy 2021. And everyone, keep being fabulous.